Elon Musk and Donald Trump have had a bit of a paddy, a bit of a playground fallout, it feels like. But it's serious. It's about serious shit, stuff that's quite contentious and can't really change. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So there's this big, beautiful bill that's being pushed through in America, mostly because of Congress, and it's looking like it's going to increase government spending by about 1.6 trillion. And there's all kinds of other economic fallout off the back of that. Obviously, Elon went into the government with Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, to try and reduce spending, to try and save the fiscal status of the economy in America. And then there's this big, beautiful bill that's kind of sideswiped the American people, and it's like, well, hang on, what are we doing here? Like, we wanted change, we wanted efficiency, we wanted less spending, and I do think there's a two-sided thing here, because Trump's trying to have a practical solution and has to spend money to enact the things he's trying to do, like the Iron Dome, the military changes, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they can't keep spending into oblivion. And I think that's where Elon kind of fell off the rails. And over the last few days, he's been very vocal against the big, beautiful bill. And then he came out with this yesterday, because I think the Trump administration was then pushing back against Elon. Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. And then he quote retweeted himself and said, "Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out." And then I think Trump retaliated and said, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Elon then responded with, in light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically the vehicle that gets astronauts to and from the International Space Station, and is basically the only one available to America. So that's not good news. But they also have come out since and said, obviously, we're not going to do that. It's just a bit of, jousting online. And also, Donald Trump's tweet doesn't exist anymore. Whether it's been deleted or not, not too sure. But it's all a bit childish. And then Elon said, the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Now, that is interesting. Is that a flippant comment, or is that actually what he thinks? Because these tariffs are a big kind of like gamble at the moment. Will they work? Will they bring back financial stability to the American economy and create the new geopolitical landscape that the Trump administration is trying to manufacture? And then Elon tweeted, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? It's had over 4.5 million votes overnight, with 81% of people saying yes. That's the state of play. Lads, what are we saying? Anyone got any thoughts on this?
I think it's crazy.
You've got the richest person in the world and you've got the most powerful politician having it out on X. Great marketing for X, right?
I think we predicted it. I'm sure when it first started, the bromance started brewing on one of the old episodes, we said that it's gonna blow up because they're two extremely strong personalities and characters, and you can't have two bulls in the ring. One of them is going to fucking end up headbutting the other.
It's annoying how that has panned out, because a lot of people did say that, and the Democrats especially were saying that. They're like, this relationship's not going to last, and it was just this hope of like, they'll make it last. They'll make sure it does, and it hasn't. But it's worth noting that the core issue stems from congressional decision making, not necessarily Trump. Trump is being practical. Elon's being principled. That the principle is, we came into power, or Republicans came into power to stop spending stupid amounts of money to save the financial crisis that America's in with this debt spiral, the same crisis we have in the UK. And then with this big, beautiful bill, it kind of just goes against all of that. But Trump knows he has to appease Congress.
Beautiful bill. I think the only thing, I just picking up on back of Sam's comment, really, because nobody really knows the true state of play. I personally think that it's real from kind of Elon's side, from Donald Trump's side. Just from, obviously, I've never met the guy, I don't know him, but from the books I've read about him, if any of you have read his book, like The Art of the Deal, he openly says in there that his tactics for getting certain things is by throwing, kind of causing chaos and throwing diversions and causing, starting from extreme points and ending up with what he wants eventually, which comes across as reasonable and rational. That's just the way Donald Trump is, from the books I've read. So that's why everything he's connected to kind of blows up, and then something comes out which he finally turns around and is like, yeah, but this is what we really wanted, but you can't see it at the beginning. So be interesting to see what happens. Yeah.
Sam, what do you think, mate? Any opinions? You said you don't think it's real.
Yeah, I was doing some reading on this in the morning, and there's a lot of sort of conspiracies that are saying that Elon's doing this to try and win the people back and get his Tesla stocks up. Because obviously there's been a lot of problems caused with that over in America. So I don't know how true it is, but it just seems a bit too public and a bit too soon to be real, in my opinion.
It's madness. I mean, it's a bit of an interesting strategy, as it's just dropped 16% overnight. But I mean, it's a good time to buy if you're buying Tesla. I just think Elon was probably embarrassed that he's put his brand and his personality on the line to try and save money. But the inevitability was they have to print money. It's almost certain to pay off the previous debt. And I think he was embarrassed that bill went through overnight. No one at Congress saw it. It got through. They were going to print another $1.5 trillion or something. It's just crazy money. So I just think it's an embarrassment for Elon, or he's playing the perfect political game to try and set his own party up.
Track record, which is the only thing, is like he's always been principled, right? He's done mental things like buying Twitter, like on principle rather than on financial interests. So I don't see it being financially driven. I think it's but I do. He has done stupid things online before, like tweeted things that he just should. I don't think he should have tweeted the Epstein thing. I don't see how that advantages him in any way or anyone. That's kind of like playground antics, whereas questioning the bill and standing firm on that out of principle, I think that's what the people wanted. That's why they put Trump in. It's the same thing we want here in the UK, innit? We don't want to keep fucking growing our debt and having to keep printing money and creating inflation.
That's where politics comes in, though, isn't it? Because Elon acts out of his principles. So he has some good principles and equally some not some good principles. Again, just from he's not perfect. No one is, but that's where politics comes in. Because whilst I'm just playing devil's advocate, obviously we have a set of information that we see that's public. America is obviously in terms of the world, if not up there in the top 3 power nations of the world. So the data they have is stuff that we'll never see. And when I always think about this, I'm like, if you look at some of where the money's going in terms of extra defense and stuff, there probably are real risks that need spending. And Stuart's right. I mean, I think Elon was just naive. That I definitely, cutting waste is extremely important. But the way the world's gone, you fucking can't come back from some of the play. We're in the crater, really.
The Epstein thing's probably true. I mean, if you look at, he's a red-hot blooded animal who's got all the power and money, and he's in, the Epstein thing is probably a true thing, that Elon's gone, fuck you, you can't give me enough money or power to, I stand on my principles.
Or what? Why would Trump want to bring it out in the first place?
Well, because he's doing what his negotiation is. He's trying to bluff everyone.
He did it for his trial. He did it for his campaign, wasn't he, to get in, because Biden wasn't releasing. And then when he got in, he released information that was already there and just left a bit. I think he's in it.
I mean, it was grabbing pussy. They were, he was a different character 4 years ago. Pussy grabbing, president.
Oh my god,
pussy grabbing.
Moving on. I mean, what I find
they
really
don't talk like that in Henley, Stuart.
No. I mean, goodness gracious, get out of this establishment, you vile pig. What I find interesting is obviously our political process and system is obviously like quite, like old Victorian in terms of like very, very old school, with House of Lords and bills going through. And America is, I would say, very Hollywood. Fame actually fortunes you in the politics world. Arnold Schwarzenegger becoming a governor of a state, like it's just an example of the popular people go into politics. And I've always said obviously I'm married into American family. I always say I just feel that all of their politics is Hollywood. It's almost like all a show. And about 6 months ago, we talked about Elon coming in and helping Trump, and we were saying it's great, someone commercially minded, someone that's run their own business, and this is the backlash of that. This is the potential downside of someone that's reported to no one and doesn't report to anyone, then having an issue with the person in control, and then you get this clash where the most powerful person in politics is dealing with the most powerful person in almost every other capacity, I would say. So I think it's a good example and flavour of like I actually love commercials in politics. I think there should be more of it. But it's an example, if you're bringing in powerhouses from the commercial world that don't report to anyone, you can have a backlash of how fucked up all politics is. I mean, all politics is I think if we were doing in business what they do in politics, we'd be in jail. So I think that we should be pushing more of that, what they're up to. And Elon, whatever he's doing, whatever backlash to come and however pathetic it is, I like it. It's pulling a curtain back on how fucked up that part of the world is for everyone. We're being ran by people who we don't trust or can't trust just because they're better than the other candidate running.
The principle is clear as day. The people voted for government efficiency and less spending and getting a hold of the fiscal situation of the United States. And that bill just principally goes against all of that. And that's where Elon's gone, well, what the fuck's the point of democracy? Like, if the people wanted this thing and now you're just doing the complete opposite, that is kind of like Labour have done in the UK. It's like, well, what's the point? What's the whole point in all you lot being politicians if you don't do what we want in a democracy? If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you go and subscribe to the Ground Up Podcast.